Welcome to the Good, the Bad podcast.
It's a safe place where we talk about all things good and bad.
Welcome to episode 2. Today we're going to be discussing about the book called The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is his most recent book put out, and in my opinion, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I'd say 3.5 out of 5 stars.
You said 3.5 stars?
Yeah, 3.5 out of 5 stars from me.
Really?
It's like not quite enough to be 4 for me.
Yeah, the ending, it was kind of like, I don't know how to describe exactly how I felt, but I know that there's a lot missing.
Agreed.
I would probably rate it a 4 out of 5 stars myself.
Solid. Well, to give you guys a little synopsis of the book, if you've never read it, basically, Casey Fletcher is the main character who is recently widowed. She lived in New York, so, she was a big-time actress who had a famous mom who was also an actress, and she encountered pretty bad publicity because of drinking and partying and everything. She tries to stay out of the media due to the recent issues and is sent to the family's house on the lake, located in Vermont. She finds herself downing bottles of bourbon while spying on her neighbors, Tom and Catherine. Tom is a tech guy and Catherine is a former model. She quickly becomes intrigued and intertwined with their lives. That's my little synopsis that I had.
Yes.
Without giving too much away.
I think I forgot to mention.
Oh, yeah.
Listeners' discretion is advised. There will be spoilers and some explicit content such as death, blood, descriptions.
Yeah, so trigger warning for sure.
Yes.
All right. Well, you just want to jump into it and...
Yeah,
I don't know.
We could just jump into it. First, in the beginning of the book, I thought the first 100 pages was really slow.
Oh my god,
it started definitely kicking up in the anticipation part. Because I did not want to put the book down after that. Or in my case, the Kindle down.
No, 100%. 2/3 into the book, I feel like it's when it really picked up. So if you like books that start slow and then escalate really fast, this is the one for you.
For sure. And not to mention the fact that this book was such an easy read. It was not hard to read the pages. It was a quick understanding, easy to comprehend. It had a good flow to it.
Yeah, for sure. I think the author, Riley Sager, sorry, his writing is pretty good. I do he's kind of a dry writer, he's not too descriptive or informative. He's not describing what everybody's wearing, in a cool, unique way. He's just very, I'd say blunt and dry and to the point. So I actually appreciate that because it made it easy to get through the book. I wasn't finding myself questioning. I'm wait, I don't remember her or him,
And you know what? Now that you mentioned the details he put in, or the lack of details, but he would leave in small details that would make me think in the back of my head that something I know that Casey Fletcher didn't know.
Yes.
Because there was this one part in the book. Oh, I'm trying to remember.
No, it's okay.
He left in details that would kind of throw you off. The one part where he said that postcard of Green Lake. Is that what the lake is called? Lake Green?
Yeah, Lake Green. Yeah.
Yeah, Lake Green. Lake Green. That postcard, and it's 3 names of those unfortunate deaths.
Yeah.
And it was written in a childlike handwriting, and it says, "I think they're here." like that threw me off. I was like, are children involved?
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
I
I
didn't
thought it was
really-
weird.
I was like, that's just a weird detail. And then later they go on to explain it, that it was probably written by a woman with her left hand. But just simple details like that. I just never expected the plot twists.
Yeah,
Like, it wasn't
honestly.
very predictable at all. Like, I thought I knew what was going to happen, and then boom, something would just change. And I'm like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, no, it was like full of plot twists. I think that's something I liked in his writing was kind of the parallel from like the past and the present, because it definitely kept you in, like he gave you just enough details to keep going, you know, like the guy in her room or who we didn't know, aka the girl. And, you know, like we didn't know that, but then like it would basically just talk about her like capturing him and basically holding him or her hostage. And then it would go back to the past and like how it led up to that point. And I really I like books that do that personally.
I usually don't, but I think it's because in my experience, it's been hard for me to keep up with understanding which one is the past and which one is the present or which one's the future. But he did a really good job of like letting us know which is which, because then it was easy to follow. I'm like, oh, okay.
Exactly.
I know where we're at.
I would say something I did not like about this book was just kind of like the cliche tropes and everything. Like just a cliche like mother-daughter relationship. Like, and then why would the mom send her where her husband died? That's something that confused me.
Me too.
Like,
I think,
what?
is it like a rich people thing? Like they just
Please.
like,
Honestly,
here's your
maybe.
nice getaway lake house, stay here. It's for our family benefit, so you don't trash our family name by humiliating us because you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But then again, like
Which-
that's so bad. Why would you send your daughter?
Yeah, no, that made no sense to me. I was like, he could have done that a little different. I get like to put the family history into it, but maybe not where her ex-husband died. Like that was kind of weird, like really weird to me. As a reader, I was just like why is she gonna go there? It's gonna make her drink more, you know?
Exactly.
And she did.
And like, why did she have a full case of like alcohol? Like,
I know.
if her mother knew she had issues, she should have baby-proofed the room. Like, no alcohol,
Yeah.
no substances of any kind.
Exactly, if it was to get away from that. Like, I know the older neighbor, I always forget his name, but the older
Eli?
neighbor, yeah, Eli, he was the one who would like go and buy it because like he wasn't going to deny her of that. And he was just like a good neighbor. Like if she wants it, she's an adult type of thing. So I get like, oh, she maybe got more alcohol from him, but still the mom should have came and checked on her.
And
Not just
not
Paul.
to mention, like Boone, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
ex-cop, and he
Oh my
like
gosh.
had problems too
Another cliche.
with drinking. Yeah, and then like the cliche, like, oh, I can't mention drinking around him, or I can't.
know.
I was like, okay, I understand that in the real life, like it could be sensitive, but like
Yeah.
those kind of details, I don't think it really helped.
No.
I guess
yeah,
maybe
didn't
towards
think
the
so either.
end, like, okay, she's getting the help she needs, like going to AA or whatever.
Yeah, and they're like friends or whatever, or like together.
More than friends.
Yeah.
Which is
But
also cliche.
Yeah, it's very cliche, and I'm pretty sure he still killed his wife. Just saying. Hot take.
Loki, what if Detective Wilma, had a crush?
Yeah.
Or they Loki liked each other? Because
Maybe.
that's always a thought.
And she like covered for him because of the history they have or something.
Yeah, and like saying your wife killed herself, that's not really a reason to hide it from everybody. Like, oh, I didn't want to look like a bad husband. It's like suicide, as bad as it is to say, it's such a normal thing.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yeah, it happens with a lot of like famous people.
Yeah, and so that just didn't. I see it in a lot of books and movies and TV shows, like
For sure.
hiding the reason of deaths. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Yeah, I thought that was a
insensitive.
cliche. I mean, maybe we are, but also we put viewer discretion in the beginning. So
Yeah,
I
true.
just think, I just feel like that was weird. I don't know. And yeah, former ex-cop, like another cliche, old man who doesn't really have anything to do with it, cliche. Like, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was, but I just feel like he could have made the characters more interesting.
Honestly. And why was he taking forever to get back? After that storm hit, or the hurricane?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
it the hurricane? Some type of
Yeah,
storm.
it was just a really bad storm.
Yeah,
But probably
that was
Hurricane
going
Vermont.
through. And he went out to, like, go get supplies, and he had texted or called or left a voicemail to Casey saying, "Oh, do you need anything? I'm headed out, gonna be right back." And literally everything happened. So much happened between the time he left and came back. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm good."
But yeah, I thought it was weird how everything happened. And then something I hated was when it got to the end. So if you guys don't know, basically towards the end, do you want to explain the paranormal stuff? Because I feel like you're like really intrigued by that.
Okay, yeah.
So you can give the
So-
synopsis for like the end.
Okay, basically, let me start from this point. So, in the beginning, we mentioned that Casey Fletcher was widowed. So, to summarize it more, Casey basically killed her husband, Len Fletcher,
Dun, dun, dun.
because Len is a serial killer / was a serial killer, and he had killed 3 women. And how Casey found out was one day they were just grilling,
Yeah, just cooking, and he had like a little
cooking,
apron
like,
on.
yeah. And he needed a lighter or a match or something like that.
Yeah.
And she went down to the basement where this section that Len had for all of his tools and fishing stuff, and I think in his tackle box, is that what
Yes.
it's called?
Yeah.
There were
I think so.
3 driver's licenses of young women, and there were 3 missing women at the time. And she found out it was him that had killed the 3 young women, and there were locks of their hair there. So it was like his weird safekeeping trophy kind of thing. And she finds out, and she's kind of in a panic mode, but she's also an actress, so she knows how to like keep her cool. She goes up, kind of keeps it normal, act like nothing happens, and then she puts a bunch of antihistamines, basically Benadryl, into his drink, and he drinks it all, and he's feeling really like tired, obviously. And there's this boat, and it's late, and they want to see like the stars or the moon or something. And they go
he's
out.
like tripped up, like, you know.
Yeah, he's
tripping.
literally like so tired. His eyes are probably rolling to the back of his head. And she's like, "No, I want to go." So he's tired, and she pushes him off the boat, and he dies or drowns. And
Yeah.
it was like the perfect cover for Casey, because they wouldn't really investigate someone who drowned, if that makes sense. Like,
And
it's
she
not
like set it up.
yeah,
Like put
she set
the
it
fresh
up.
coffee, so it looked like he
Uh-huh.
went fishing early.
Exactly. And so, from this point, in the book, Eli, as we mentioned, the old guy, the neighbor, he gave stories, like, what are they called? Like,
Like tales and
yeah,
fables.
like scary tales, and basically saying that the Lake Green is haunted. With that being said, when Catherine Royce went for a swim, she had drowned. when
Which,
she-
for background, Catherine and Tom were the couple that I mentioned in the beginning who lived across the lake that Casey was spying on to see, like, the, you know, intermixes of their marriage and everything. And so they became close. So, you know, go ahead.
Yeah, so after she went for a swim, she drowned. And there's more to the story, but we'll get to that later. Basically, she drowned, and what had happened was, here comes the paranormal part. Len, the husband of Casey, basically entered her body, like in a soulish type of figure.
Yeah. Like his soul's just floating in the lake.
Yeah, like basically the tail is where if you die in the lake, your soul is trapped. And if you look at the lake, like the reflection of it, you can see the souls that are being trapped, or yourself. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really sure what that means, because it's only like been detailed like a few times in the book, and the bigger part is just really being Len, who lives in the lake, basically. So Catherine's body is still Catherine, but she is basically Len now. And so
Yes.
that night, Catherine isn't feeling well, but she's drinking wine. And with Casey, Tom is there, and I think Eli's there too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're all drinking, and Catherine breaks a glass wine. A wine glass.
Glass wine.
I'm doing a really bad job of explaining.
No, you're doing a good job.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, they're drinking and trying to celebrate the fact that Casey was able to resuscitate Catherine. But what Casey doesn't know is that Catherine, by the next morning, is going to be gone missing. And she pins the blame on Tom. Oh, Tom did this. So she doesn't know that Len is in Catherine's body, like his soul. And he has taken over by the next morning. What Tom has done is Tom has realized that Catherine is not Catherine. So he hides her, and he posts on her social media. As you know, she's a well-known ex-supermodel, so people look out for those things, like what are people doing, how are they doing,
like
all that stuff.
Update.
Yeah. So Casey uses this opportunity to do a little digging, and the opportunity I'm talking about is the fact that she got fired from her acting job on a show called, what, Shame and Tame? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, just some detective actor, little show.
Yeah.
But she channels that into her investigation.
Pretty much. And, let's see. She partners up with Boone
Yes.
and tries to locate Catherine. And remember, they both think it is Tom Royce that has either kicked Catherine out of the house or has done something a lot worse than kicking her out.
And then they even think Tom. They try to conclude that Tom also killed those three other girls because Wilma, basically has information on those girls, but they don't know who did it. So they're trying to see if it was Tom who killed the three girls who Len actually killed back then, and trying to see if he's going to do the same with Catherine.
Yeah, and they go through his house, and she finds a lot of clues that point to, yes, Tom is trying to kill Catherine, or already has.
Yeah.
And Boone is an ex-cop, so he kind of does not approve of Casey doing this. Mm-hmm. The alcoholic. Which, now that I mention that, I should probably also mention Casey is not a reliable narrator, so everybody that's reading from her point of view, we know just as much as she does.
Exactly, because she's bottles in on bourbon.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she is swigging it down.
I think that's her favorite because I think that word bourbon has been said so many times in the book.
Oh my God. That's something I didn't
throughout.
like about his writing. I was just like, okay, we get it. She's drinking bourbon. Okay.
Yeah, like, we get it. So with that being said, she's under the influence most of the time. And so he'll leave in little details that point to, oh, she might not remember this, but as the readers, we are able to point that out. Mm-hmm. So the morning that Catherine went missing, Casey, she's still drunk, probably hungover, sleeping in her little chair, and she hears a scream which wakes her up, and Boone hears it too, and that's what made them partner up. So,
yeah, go investigate.
Just going back a little bit, yeah. But she is not sure if that was a scream of a human or if that was like an animal or some type of prey,
or if she just
predator.
dreamt it.
Yeah, because she's under the influence the entire time. Basically, the supernatural thing. I can't describe why it happens or like the purpose behind why it even exists in the book, but it's a cool plot twist, I'll say. The Fitzgerald's house, which is part of like the neighborhood of Lake Green, is across from the Royce's house, I believe. You have to get on a boat and go there.
Yeah.
But one day Casey sees like a flashlight at night rummaging through the woods, and she pulls out her binoculars and is spying, and she thinks it's Tom. So she goes to see what all the flashlight and movement and what's going on in that area. So she goes and she discovers Tom and Catherine Royce, or the body of Catherine Royce. And Tom is furious that Casey has found him because he doesn't know how to explain that Catherine is not Catherine. Catherine is really Len.
Like, people think he's crazy.
Yeah. So Casey's like, I don't believe you. And he's like, okay, fine, I need a moment with Catherine alone. And Tom told her, whatever you do, do not untie her, blah, blah, blah. So basically, Casey then finds out that Catherine is possessed in a way by Len. And she's full of shame because right upstairs is Tom. How are you going to explain, oh, yeah, my husband's body is in Catherine? Not to mention, oh, I killed my husband.
Yeah.
So,
but then she unties him.
Yeah.
I was
and
like,
they
what
escape. And Tom is left behind in the Fitzgerald house. And Casey takes Len, or Catherine, back to Casey's house, or their previous house. And this is kind of like a parallel to the beginning of the book, of the before part. Or no, not before, but the now part.
Yeah.
So Casey ties up Len, or Catherine. They're the same person at this point. Ties her to a bed. Or him to the bed. And
to the
basically
bed.
interrogates. Yeah. Basically interrogates Len. And Len has this mischievous look on his face. And like, he's just had this strive and passion for having full power over somebody, and that was like the reasoning behind why he killed those 3 young women. Like, oh, it was so easy to do. Like, I was able to do whatever I wanted.
Which is so fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bad.
I mean, what the? Yikes.
And so, at this point, Catherine is still drinking while interrogating him. And the power goes out in the house. So she goes away from the room. She lights up a bunch of candles and she goes back. But I think that's at that point he like went missing.
Yeah, like untied himself.
Yeah.
Which I was like, how many times is this gonna happen? Like Len Catherine escaping. I was like, oh my god, that's something I didn't like.
Eventually they find him/her. And Eli is there too, and Casey decides to tell Eli everything, and tells him a plan to situate or try to find a resolution to the situation, basically.
Yeah.
But she goes around and does something differently because she knew that he would not approve of her actual plan, which was basically a murder-suicide. So she has like this Ziploc baggie with her phone inside so that it's still good to be used for evidence. When the police shows up and finds Casey's dead body, because they go out on the boat, and the reasoning behind how Casey was able to even get Catherine/Len on the boat to go with her was to like have a moment of privacy together. Mm-hmm. And with that moment, they're like making out or something, right?
Like, I don't know if it was making out, but like just sharing an intimate moment.
Yeah, just to kind of like coerce.
But she was basically trying to seduce
Len.
him to kill him.
Yeah, basically. And she has an anchor, and she's like holding down, so she's drowning herself. And somehow, right, Len has completely taken over Casey's body, and Catherine is like herself now. She's still on the boat, but Casey has went in the water.
They swapped.
Basically, yeah, they swapped some spit, and their souls got swapped. Casey was still in her body, but Len transferred from Catherine's body to Casey's body when they kissed. And so she has an anchor tied around, or like crossed around her chest, and she's sinking to the bottom of the lake, and she's trying to drown. She's like, basically, you're going down with me situation. But Len doesn't want to die, so he lets go of Casey. And then Catherine saves Casey, and Len is now back inside of Lake Green.
At the
doing
bottom
whatever.
of the lake. Yeah. And he also admitted to where the girls were that he killed, and it was in, the lake. And so
Yeah.
that was kind of weird to me.
What was weird?
I don't know, just like, oh, all 3 of the bodies are right there. Like, they've been there the whole time.
I kind of didn't question it. Maybe I was wrong to not.
I don't know. It's just like all of it, like this happened so fast. Like he took forever in the beginning of the book, like the author, and then all of a sudden at the end, boom, like one thing after another, no stopping, no hesitation. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, where's all this coming from?
Maybe he was just like, I'm tired of still writing this book. Let me finish it off.
For real.
Catherine saves Casey, and they're headed back to Casey's house. Tom and Catherine are back together, and everything seems okay for the moment. Casey talks to Detective Wilma, who's great friends with Boone, and apologizes for assuming that Boone had something to do with the death of Catherine and the three others. And at this point, it seems like everything's cooled down a little bit.
No more paranormal stuff.
Yeah. But then Tom, who she first assumed was trying to harm and slowly kill Catherine Royce, which the reasoning behind Tom doing that is because Tom owns a tech company and it's not doing so well. So he wants to kind of kill Catherine slowly, by slowly poisoning her and inherit all of her wealth from her modeling days.
Yeah, because they basically, said that, well, she confessed that, basically, he has no money. It's all tied to that company, and she's the one who pays for everything.
Yeah, the bills, the food, the groceries,
Yeah.
car payments, insurance, health, probably
Yeah.
everything. Tom is still trying to kill Catherine, and he searches out for Casey and targets her at the end of the book and tries to hurt her. Pause. Oh, shit.
You're good.
It's every Saturday that I have a runny nose. Isn't that
Weird.
unfortunate?
Very, very.
Okay, going back. So Tom is targeting Casey, and Casey is stuck in a position where she can't really call for help without anybody hearing her, because her phone dropped through the cracks of the back porch area, or the balcony, something like that. And so Tom has this weapon, like a leg stand, a leg.
Yeah, something weird.
So it's, I would just, I picture a wooden bat kind of cut in half,
Yeah.
like raw edges though. And he's swinging at her, trying to hurt her, trying to get rid of her, because
You want that money.
she almost did in the beginning by involving the police.
Yeah.
So she's falling down the stairs. She's slowly going into the lake. He's still chasing, kind of like Michael Myers. She's just slowly running away, and he's trying to get to her. But eventually, Casey wins this fight. She, smashes something into his head, some type of glass piece.
Yeah, like a bottle or something like that.
Yeah, a bottle or something. And it hits his skull, and he's bleeding. And then the police arrive. Prior to when the police arrived, this was when Casey sent a message via voicemail, I believe, to Detective Wilma and says, "Hey, I think Tom Royce is still trying to kill Catherine."
Yeah, she's
Because-
like, this isn't unfinished.
Yeah, she still didn't get an update about that wine glass when they were drinking the day Casey saved Catherine. She still believed that there was poison in that. Poison. Because when she was spying on them with binoculars, she saw Catherine kind of freak out from something she read on the laptop. Which, when she
Yeah.
went through the house, when she basically trespassed onto their
Yes.
property, went through their house, rummaged through all their belongings, she read what was on the laptop, and it was like an article about how this poison slowly killed someone, and basically Tom was using that idea, and Catherine found out. So while that happened, Casey kind of put two and two together, and Detective Wilma at the end shows up when Casey's almost dying and Tom is bleeding out, and they go on about how to fix that situation, which he was arrested, right? Or he was dead.
Yeah, I think he died, right? And then they talk about, like, Catherine and Casey being widowed, you know.
Oh, yeah. And, like,
Yeah.
that was, like, the big headline at the time. And Casey didn't start going to see help about her alcoholism, but she started getting better towards New Year.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was, like, a few months clean.
Yeah.
Or weeks, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
But I don't understand the moral of the story. I don't think there really is. It's just kind of a story.
Exactly. Yeah, just take it for what it is.
It's just, but it's confusing to me because, like, it's like the character development of Casey Fletcher. Like, she went through all this traumatic stuff, and now she's all better, or trying to get better, going to school, not school, going to some type of counseling with their alcoholism. She's now, like, in a relationship with Boone.
Which is weird, still.
Yeah. Catherine and her are, like, inseparable.
Besties.
Because they both went through the same traumatic things.
Yeah, I thought it was a weird, like, resolution. I guess it makes sense. Like, okay, everybody's good now. But it just, like, I feel like it was so rushed that I was, like, I couldn't fully appreciate it because I was constantly like, what's happening now? Like, I don't know. But at least it was a good resolution.
Yeah, like not a happy ending, but, like, everything's good now.
Yeah.
Like, they're moving on.
They better sell
feel
that
like-
lake house.
Yeah.
It got too much history.
No. Yeah, I think the book itself, or the story on it, it's really good. I like it. I like the plot twists. I don't like when things are predictable, because then why would I want to read it, you know? Like,
Yeah,
I like
for sure.
something new. And this was definitely something new. I've never, like, it reminds me of some movies that I may have seen, but I can't even put a finger on, like, what the movie was called.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, I've never read a book like this.
No, never. So, if you're into something new, kind of thriller, and then switching into a paranormal / supernatural type of genre, this one's pretty good.
I agree.
Um,
Like, it's a quick, easy read, you know, easy to digest in a way. Like, it's a lot of information, but it's not like, I don't know. Like, it's just like a fun little story you can read to, you know, get away for a little bit. Just pretend you're living some other life.
yeah. I think it's a cool setting. Like, the idea of, like, someone spying through a glass house. Like, I've
Yeah.
never thought of that, like, perspective. I've never thought I would read through a perspective like that, if that makes sense. Like, obviously you can watch a movie and be like, oh, okay, this girl is spying on this family or whatever.
Yeah.
But reading it, definitely a different form of appreciation that I never thought
For
I would
sure.
have.
I was like, girl, put the binoculars down. I was like, what are you doing? No, overall, I enjoyed it. Like, I can't say I didn't. It's just, like, not my favorite book I've ever read, but it was good and full of plot twists. And I never expected that ending. Not at all. I thought it was just going to be some murdering which there was, but no paranormal stuff. I was like, wait, what? I was so shook.
I definitely was thinking like, okay, why would this ending have this type of ending? But then the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense because they never really concluded the reason, or not the reason, but like the results of that wine glass, like the substance. That was only until after, because yeah, there's a lot of spoiling, obviously.
enjoyed.
So if you're in this far and you like our synopsis of it, there's gonna be more every first Tuesday of the month. And it'll be a surprise every time. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to change up the genres. We're not just going to stick with, like, horror, paranormal,
And
ghost
there
story
could be
stuff.
more to
like,
talk
we
about
could do any
with
genre.
different genres of books, so it only makes sense that we switch it up. Because we don't want to be talking about the same stuff over and over.
Yeah,
All right.
100%. Hope you guys enjoyed. Follow our social medias, all linked in descriptions or whatever. So, just follow us, stay updated, and leave a comment of a
Peace.
book you want us to review. So maybe you'll see that in the future. Bye, guys.